we have an amazing look at one of the biggest all-star movies of all time, The Godfather, because this is one of those rare films that turned its unknown cast into household names. And I had the opportunity to meet with these now legendary all-stars. The stars.
I think it was a catalyst for a lot of us. Pacino, Jimmy Caan.
The dialogue.
I'm going to make him an offer he can't refuse.
The Godfather. 25 years ago, Francis Ford Coppola directed 2 hours and 55 minutes of strategy, tragedy, and above all, family. Moviegoers called The Godfather a true American classic. 25 years later, no one has changed their minds.
Just, you know, it's a masterpiece.
And if you've seen this masterpiece at least once,
that's a film that I watch at least 3 times a year.
Chances are you remember a favorite scene.
They got Sonny on the causeway. That always gets a frog in my throat when Robert Duvall tells Marlon Brando,
They shot Sonny on the causeway. He's dead.
When you see yourself on the big screen 25 years ago, what are you looking for? What do you see?
Just memories, you know? That's all I see. There's some memories, you know?
It broke box office records, took home 3 Oscars, and launched the careers of Hollywood legends like Al Pacino, Robert Duvall, Diane Keaton, and James Caan. Yet, it is surprising The Godfather ever got made. Francis Ford Coppola was not Paramount Studios' first choice for director, and the studio didn't like his first choices for the key roles.
When they said, well, who do you want to play Michael? I said, oh, Al Pacino, and they were stunned. They didn't know who he was. But I, you know how when you read a book, you see the story and you see the characters, and I had seen him in it.
But the studio insisted on a screen test, and it seemed like half of Hollywood showed up, including Martin Sheen. Robert De Niro tried out for the part of Sonny, and even though James Caan landed the role, the studio wanted Caan to test for Pacino's role as Michael.
I said, test what? What, do you got a Porsche? You want me to drive around the block? What do you want? Test what? He said, please, they want you to play Michael. So I went in.
168. Action.
Michael, why are all those people bothering your father on a day like this?
Oh. Well, that's because they know no Sicilian can refuse a request on his daughter's wedding day.
Mr. Brazzi went after them. And so the story goes...
The story goes that he killed 6 men in 2 weeks.
He killed 6 men in 2 weeks.
6 men in 1 week.
And he kept sneaking Al in, you know. At the end of the day, he kept testing Al, you know.
If Pacino was considered an unknown, Brando was considered trouble. Coppola almost begged to bring him on board.
Just sort of fell on the floor and said to them, you know, at least give me a chance. They're all right. If, number one, he does the movie for nothing, if he does a screen test, and if he puts up a bond guaranteeing that none of his shenanigans will cause a delay, you can consider him. So what if I do some makeup tests, I said, you know, to get around the screen test. And I went and I bought Italian cheese and cigars and stuff. And he started to, like, take his hair and put shoe polish on. He says, it's like a bulldog. He puts on his hands. I want to have, you know. And he's doing this right there, and I'm shooting it. And then, like, he started going, He put Kleenex in his mouth, and he had black. It's remarkable to see.
Francis did something extraordinary. He brought us together, and we had our first rehearsal bonding.
Francis had a big feast, like, you know, we had the Italian food and that, and we had a cast table that was like from New York to Newark, you know, I mean, it was this huge, long table. And I do remember, like, Brando was sitting at one end, Francis was at the other, and it was, you know, 115 miles away.
And it was interesting what happened in that particular first time family meal.
And so he said, let's begin, let's start reading, you know. Well, you know, down that end was all the guys, you know, from the actor studio and, you know, with him, all the New York actors, and, you know, and we started reading, and all you could hear was, well, what's so, what are you like? Bobby, you couldn't hear what Francis was like. He would have taken acid. He would have done anything. He almost had a heart attack.
And you, even though you were a close relation to the director, didn't necessarily have the part.
Nope, I didn't. Absolutely not.
Why did you bring your heart Virginia?
And how did you get it?
I begged. God, brother, I said, please, can I just audition?
After those auditions, the Godfather impact seemed to have no bounds. Singer Frank Sinatra was outraged over rumors that the mob-connected crooner played by Al Martino was modeled after him. And Martino remembers a real slap in the face.
The method acting of Brando almost brought me to my knees.
Godfather, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do.
See, he slaps me. And when he did, all my teeth shattered.
You can act like a man! What's the matter with you?
He hit me pretty hard.
Is this how you turn out in Hollywood?
Brando's hard-hitting scenes made moviegoers sit up and notice, even though some folks considered him lazy back in 1975, when they heard him reveal his not-so-secret acting technique on The Mike Douglas Show.
I found it most helpful not to know one single line. And to write them, to have the lines written on the boards and on the gobos and on the floor.
In the dish and on the pocket and on the forehead of another actor.
You do that in movies? Is that what you're doing when you do this occasionally, when you look up? Is it written up there?
It's written every place.
The future was written in the Hollywood stars for the actors who weren't as famous as Brando. Consider the film careers The Godfather launched into orbit.
Who am I? I'm a spoke on a wheel, and so are you.
Al Pacino currently plays yet another mob guy in Donnie Brasco. But considering his animated performances that run deeper than a sea of love, you can't say he doesn't have range. Robert Duvall has a brief cameo in this year's Academy Award winner Sling Blade. Apocalypse Now marked another acclaimed outing with Coppola, and now Duvall is directing and starring as a flamboyant preacher in The Apostle.
I'm impressed enough then.
More than enough.
And James Caan landed some impressive roles as well. He played a cop in An Alien Nation. He sang and danced for the boys alongside Bette Midler, and he was the captive guest who would eventually mean misery for Kathy Bates.
If anyone had ever told me that one day I'd be having a candlelit dinner with Paul Sheldon in my own house, I would have checked both legs to see which one was being pulled.
At the San Francisco premiere of The Godfather re-release, the stars returned to pay tribute to their biggest break.
This meant everything. It started me off and in such a big way. And I think it's responsible for my entire movie career.
And the fans came back for those special moments on film that could only result in a masterpiece.
The scene where he's closing the door on Diane Keaton in the first one, where she's looking in the door and the door slowly closes. I mean, that's chilly, chilly, chilly.